to get off your ass and do it. What are you hiding? What are you afraid of? Stop neglecting yourself. Get out of this relationship.
It's that time again. It's another Thursday night. What's up, everybody? Time for another Unexplained Cases medium. We've got Rick Garner and Maryam the Medium with just a stunning background. I mean, the foreground's pretty stunning too, but the background. Did you draw that yourself? Did you do that today?
I hung it myself.
Oh.
All by myself.
All by yourself. See, it actually looks like the moon had its own glow going. I don't know why I needed to do this, because it made me look like I have horns. So,
Anywho,
yes. This is how things start off. So it goes fabulous from there on. So, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We have what I have to think is a fairly ridiculously interesting case that's coming up, and with someone who anyone who's watched our shows lately should recognize. So that's coming up. That should be fantastic.
Her face, but you'll recognize her.
Well, that's true, because she's being incognito tonight. So so you'll recognize the voice and hopefully the name.
She didn't want to do her hair and makeup, but I had to do my hair and makeup, so that's yeah. You just kick back, relax, put your feet up, Terry.
See, it's all good. It's all good like that. So hey, Jeff and York and Penny, thanks so much for joining us. Any other interesting tidbits? Because usually this time is kind of like a little interesting tidbits before we move on.
I have a funny story.
That's interesting.
Story.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's funny. No one else may find it funny. So Bruce and I were shopping for a new bed, and we're at the mattress store, and Bruce is like, we're talking to the mattress sales dude. That's his name, mattress sales dude. And Bruce is like, well, he's like, we need a new bed really bad, but she thinks it's fine. And I'm like, listen, the bed is fine as long as he's not in it. I was dead, but I'm dead serious. I said it very seriously. I'm very serious. When he's in it, it like does this, and all of a sudden I'm in this ditch and can't get out of bed because the bed's old, I guess. But if he doesn't get in bed, because for the longest time he was sleeping out with Daisy in whichever room she was in, and I was sleeping like a baby. And it was like, wow, this bed's great. I had no idea how great this bed is. And so when we were talking to the mattress guy, and Bruce is like, well, she thinks the bed's fine. I said, no, to be clear, the bed's fine as long as you're not in it. And there was like this silence, and the mattress dude was like, and I went, no. I'm serious, but I don't mean it like we need therapy and we want to break up. I just mean it like literally physically when there's anybody, you could put any physical body in there, and then it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So it's like, stop talking, Maryam. But the moral of the story was like, listen, if it's me, it's a great fucking, I said F, it's a great bed.
Oh, see, no, it's moments like this that this is real life. So #medium real life. So
these are our lives.
Matter of fact, let me go ahead and we'll put that in there. Medium real life. So now people will literally know when I drop that. Actually, so there we go. Make sure that be sure and use that hashtag. You never know where that might be relevant.
Where it could take you.
Before what?
Well, you never know where that hashtag could take you.
Well, exactly. See, that's kind of the whole point of it, right? So, hey, Trezan, and we got Mike and Ronnie.
Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. Does anyone know that? I bet you Terry does. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. That's
wow. So we just went all boy band here, basically, on Unexplained Cases medium. That's that's touching and appropriate. And I think it's time for something else now. Got to know when to fold them. Know when to.
Forcing me to shut up and get serious.
Well, not just you. I think that was also me too. I mean,
But I do have to ask this: Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. Do you
Yes.
think those are really their names, or because it rhymes, or was it just fate that their names rhymed, or did they make up those names? Like, someone tell me if those are really their names in real life or not.
Wow. So we have a burning question for the audience. Are those the real names?
For new
Drop those in the comments because, inquiring people want to know.
All right. I do have a very serious topic that I want to cover, though.
Okay.
How comfortable I am when Bruce isn't sleeping in the bed. I'm just kidding. Okay, serious. I did have a couple pieces of chocolate, which is like breaking my cardinal rule. Like, I never eat sugar before shows, and I did, so now I'm a little hyped up. Okay.
More so than usual.
I know.
I always wondered what you'd be like high on sugar. I think we'll find out tonight.
We know. Okay, so I just want to continue to share the fascinating lesson. I always talk about how we rebirth. When someone close to us dies, it's our opportunity to rebirth. It's also our opportunity to learn. What did that spirit come in and teach me? Whether that spirit came in as animal or that spirit came in as human. What did that spirit come in and teach me? And I touched on this last week, I believe, when I said, and I don't mean to insult or hurt feelings, but when someone dies, we tend to just see the best in them, right? Like we remember how great or funny, or they taught me patience or this and that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. But there's a deeper level to go to. And that level, when we allow ourselves to go there, just really helps with the healing and the grief process. And so, with Daisy, the teachings that just continue to come out are fascinating. First off, there's this, which I was somewhat aware of, but she really solidified this. When someone passes, there's, like, I can see her moving around the apartment. She's here. And Louie was here, our three-legged cat. They stuck around. Whereas when Olivia passed, she didn't. She went on, and that's what, she wasn't lingering. But both of these guys lingered. And so there's Daisy's spirit. And so this goes for everyone, not just Daisy. There's the spirit. And then there's like this imprint of their energy and being that we see and feel, and because the spirit is big for all of us. When we're out of body, the spirit is massive. And I stress this, that it's very hard to grieve when you feel the connection of that spirit, because that spirit is light. That spirit is universe. That spirit is reminding us of who we were before we came in a body. And that really is such a healing phenomenon, because you can't cry. You won't cry. You feel this connection to who you were before you came in a body. And it's magnificent, right? And so with Daisy, she's doing this very clear, here's my imprint, so you can feel me and see me a little bit. But my spirit, you don't F with her spirit, man. So all the years I had her, I never communicated with her spirit. She never showed me her spirit. We communicated intuitively, animal to human. When she showed me her spirit was right before she got sick, and she was prepping that she would be leaving soon. And when I saw her spirit, I was like, whoa, that thing was massive. And it was intimidating. And at first I didn't realize who I was talking to and what was happening. And then she said, listen, I'm going to be getting ready to leave body. And what was interesting is I said, but we understood you would be here until age 14. That's what I was always told, is she'd live until 14. She was 12 and a half when she died. She said, you've learned your lessons faster, so I'm going to leave. You don't need me any longer. And so for me, the grieving kind of started then, because I was like, wow, all right. And all of my animals did come to me prior. So there was always this awareness. Doesn't make it any easier. It just, it allows you to go through it a little bit more fluidly. But what is so interesting about this spirit is the lessons, right? And so for some people who might know Daisy, they'd say, oh, wow, she taught so many people so much. She taught us how to be more accepting. She taught us, because we adopted deaf and blind before it was common, for it was what everyone kind of does. And so there was this acceptance that needed to be had. There was this education piece to it all. And so you would think that that was the lesson, right? Her lesson to me, which I'm sharing with you all, even though it's very personal, was that I used her as a distraction to prepare myself for the real work that I was supposed to do. And I found that incredibly fascinating, because when you are willing to hear the lesson someone's soul is there to teach you, and you see behind the fluff and the fear and the sadness, and you just see truth, you're like, you want to go into more detail about that? And so then the work began, and then she began showing me what that meant. And not that anything is wrong, everything is in divine order, but that how I was putting off who I was and how I was going to share that with the world, and being consumed with her. And so I share that with you all because whether you've lost a human or an animal, there is a lesson that they came to teach, probably more than one. And when you allow yourself to really speak to that spirit, not as their mother, daughter, father, not as their sibling, but just spirit to spirit, right? All of a sudden there's growth, right? There's truth. And when there's truth and there's growth and there's this connection to a higher source, that grief goes away. And you're like, okay, next steps, next chapter. It's truly an incredible experience. And I look forward to sharing more of that and my journey with losing her. And, eventually I will have that will be applicable to human beings in my life, which I have lost I've lost a nephew at a very young age, and that was incredibly disturbing and difficult. But I didn't have the information that I have now, So Daisy's teachings are more powerful now than when she was in body. And
Wow.
I didn't think that was possible, but she's pretty intimidating out of body. I'm not kidding. Like, she's intimidating because she's so powerful. And Olivia, who was her eyes and ears, moved on to this maternal experience and maternal being. She is what she was in body. We're not always the same in spirit form that we were in body. We are not, and Daisy in body was this kooky, silly, nutty little thing, just silly, as you know from the videos, just silly. And out of body, man, don't mess with her. Like, when she comes in, I'm just kind of like, what? I'm sorry. Did I do something? Because she's so big. Anywho, okay, cards for you guys. Let's do this. Speaking of Daisy, so in this deck, we've got one of these cards. So if it falls out, we all got to deal with the rip. That sounded like it could have meant something else.
There's another hashtag.
That's
Deal
a
with the rip.
great joke in there. If Darren was watching, he would have a lot to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's center ourselves, or let's center Maryam's self. Here we go. Bring your focus to your belly. And I want you to completely release that belly. Stick it out. Make it as weird, awkward, uncomfortable as you can. Just let that belly stick out. And the reason why we're doing that is because that's where we hold our emotion. That's where we hold pain, suffering, trauma. And I want that belly to be pliable, right? That's the goal, is for that belly to be pliable. So take a deep inhale. And really let that belly expand. And then exhale, pull that belly in. Let that belly expand on the inhale. Exhale, pull the belly in. Inhale. Exhale. As you lengthen that inhale, slow down and lengthen that exhale. All right. I'm going to close. Hey, Bruce. What? Close the door. Hi, everybody. That's Bruce. All right.
He can make a guest appearance.
I know. My mom actually asked him to stick his face in because she missed him. She's like, can you tell him to put his face in the camera so I can say hi? And I was like, I'm not sharing this.
Wow. That's how it is, folks.
He's going to sleep in the bed. He's going to pop his face in.
Man. I'm going to give him his own show. That's it. That's what I'm doing.
Harry would love that. Because he's funny. Okay, we've got one more. I feel like it's kind of a small crowd tonight. Would you agree?
It is.
Oh, then 2 cards it is. Oh, I must be psychic.
Look at you.
2 cards it is. 1, 2. Card 1. Card 2. Card 1. This is like a spirit quest for you. This is like a moment in your life where you are progressing on a spiritual level. You are being exposed and shown it's like they're saying like a new frontier of spirituality. This means opportunity. This means opportunity on a spiritual level that can manifest physically. But for card 1, there's this awakening. There's this like seeing the light and being able to now see situations clear, see what's around you clear. Now, if for some of you, you're saying, I don't feel that. I don't feel that. It's because you are in your anxiety. You are in your doubt. Bring your energy down. Focus on running that energy through the earth like the root of a tree. Feel yourself grounded. Come out of the head. Come into the heart. And you will find the way through. This kind of awakening is like, it's like someone's giving you this mirror and they're like, look what you can have. You just need to see it. You're so busy up here, you don't see it. But it's the spiritual awakening. It feels like you're going through it right now. And if you aren't, if you're aware that you're going through it, great. If you're not aware that you're going through it, but you're struggling, it's because that awakening is wanting to come through, but you won't get out of your head. Okay? Card 2 is about closure, changes, and letting go. Moving away from the past. Moving on. No longer allowing the past to influence and inhibit you. No longer allowing the past to be like this stamp on your present life existence. You're holding on to memories that you don't need. You're holding on to experiences that don't exist anymore. And it's about moving away from the past. And the farther you get away from the past, and the more you let these feelings and experiences and people go, even if you loved them, the closer you get to, again, they're saying awakening. The closer you're getting to freedom, to a balanced, calm center. But what's keeping you from that balance, calm center is this past that you aren't letting go of. It's just holding you hostage. It's time to let that go, release it all, because there's something and someone waiting for you on the other side to help you, to guide you. You just got to get off that boat of the past, you know? That past doesn't serve you. And no matter how painful it was and what happened to you and the anger or regret or whatever that is, none of that matters. You're the only one holding it, you know? And you're the only one holding it, so you're the only one holding you back. Okay. There we go. Hello, Rick.
Just like that, huh?
It was only 2 cards. There's not like there's just only 2 cards fell out.
Well, and that's fine. See, you know, I was gonna make you sweat just a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did. Thank you. I mean, I can keep talking, but it just is like kind of awkward. Do a dance.
Yeah. Well, you know, just basically keep it going like that. That's fine. You know, so the show must go on. Oh, see.
I wanted to tomorrow, 12 o'clock, Instagram Live. I'm going to be on live with a band, not singing. They're called Dreamers. Their Instagram page is Dreamers Join Us. And we're going to be taking questions from the audience. I'll be doing questions from the audience. I'm going to read the 3 guys in the band, do a couple quick questions. But the interesting part is they gave me a couple celebrity musicians they want to see if I can communicate with. Kurt Cobain was one. Who did I say was the others? Jimi Hendrix was the other one.
Say again?
Jimi Hendrix.
Kurt Cobain. Yep.
And then anyway, there's another one. We may if we can reach one of them, because you never know who will be available to chat. They might be busy.
Could be doing a gig.
They could be doing a gig.
I mean, see, I talk the talk. Yay for me.
Anywho, that's that.
So that's tomorrow at noon Pacific.
You know me.
Yes.
I only know Pacific Standard Time. Anything else just freaks me out.
So, just making sure. So we got noon Pacific, which would be 3 Eastern, Instagram, and that will be on your channel, right?
No, it'll be on their channel.
Okay.
Their channel's their page is Dreamers Join Us or Join Me. It's 3 guys. Anyway, I'll post it on my page if anyone cares. If anyone's still watching the show.
Well, I was about to say,
anyone out there?
We'll drop it in the comments, so that way, just to make sure that people know where to find that. Just like we also want to make sure that everyone knows to find us and all of our zaniness every Sunday night at 10 o'clock Eastern. See, I always put that first because that's where I'm at. So see, this is why it rolls that way.
All about you, isn't it?
This is, well, it was about you just a few minutes ago, so there. Or 7 o'clock Pacific.
I don't like sharing.
We're starting to see something, but
pattern.
There's a pattern developing. Unexplained Cases live every Sunday night. So we're going to have a fascinating look at I'm not going to give anything away, basically, because all I'm going to tell you is going to be another fascinating look at our unique celebration of Black history. So we have an incredible guest. There's going to be a redonkulous remote view. I'm going to go ahead and just set the bar high because that's how strongly I feel about it. And Mr. Dito can, he can kind of give us a little bit more on it.
Let's do it, Dito.
Dito here, coming up on Unexplained Cases. We are very happy to welcome to the show Kamara Brown from Raw Intuition. Now, Kamara is quite successful in all the business projects that she's involved in. Okay, let's run them down. She's an entrepreneur, a natural hairstylist, a model, influencer, and don't forget, she's a podcaster. In just 4 short years, this former choreographer and journalism grad has taken her passion for hairstyling and created a thriving salon. Well, the work is so good, people have to make appointments many weeks in advance. That's a pretty good problem to have. Her business success has included launching hair products, developing a wig line, and hosting a podcast called Deep Condition. Tamara is one of 7 children, a first-generation Jamaican who calls Southern California home, but she is still very engaged in finding out more about her roots. She has asked Maryam to investigate the National Hero Park in Kingston, Jamaica, specifically the story of the 18th century leader of Jamaican Maroons, referred to as the NANNY of the Maroons. Now, this is pretty intriguing, somewhat unexplained. During years of warfare with the British in Jamaica, they suffered huge losses, and some believe that is because of the supernatural powers of the NANNY. Whoa. So what will Maryam find out during her remote view? Possibly she can solve the mystery of the NANNY of the Maroons. So make sure you catch Unexplained Cases coming up on Sunday night at 10 p.m. on the East Coast and 7 p.m. on the West Coast. We'll see you then.
And there you have it. So look for that coming up on Sunday night. Yeah, spooky would be very accurate. But speaking of spooky, I'll just bring on my sister from another mister. What's up, T? What's going on?
It's been a little rough, but I'm getting it together. I'm super excited for Sunday. That was such a great tease. Thank you so much.
Oh,
but
hey,
yeah, it's been an interesting week. Let's just say.
Yeah, I think that could be an understatement. So I'm gonna step out and let you ladies talk about
it. Okay.
All right. So Terry, tell the audience what happened.
Basically, the quick backstory is that I haven't been sleeping for weeks. It's been like maybe 2 or 3 hours here and there, but it's been a rough few weeks. And I think this was Sunday night because I think I told you Monday morning. Sunday night, I finally fell into a deep sleep. And it was one of those, because I haven't been sleeping, when you have that exhaustion that you're really in a deep sleep. So I fell in a really deep sleep. And all of a sudden, I was physically, now obviously energetically, because I know I was asleep, but it was one of those very lucid kind of dreams. I was snatched out of my bed and literally thrown somehow I got from my bed to the ceiling and thrown down onto my sofa. And the room was, I always leave like a little light in my room because my apartment is usually really dark at night. So I leave some light on in the room. And the sofa, once my body hit the sofa, it was violently, it was like being on a ride. You know, when they have the ride and they put the bar in front of you and it slams you from side to side, that's what my sofa was doing. And I was holding on as much as I could onto the sofa because I was physically in this. It wasn't like a dream when you see yourself going through something. I was in it. And it was terrifying. And I remember my kitty, Lopez, was on the sofa with me. And I remember just being so frightened because it wasn't stopping. And I have dealt with really bad nightmares my whole life. So when they happen, it's like this horrible thing coming back up. Okay. And at some point, the sofa, my bedroom is in the back of the apartment, and then I come through to the front to the living room. And in this experience, I remember at one point the sofa faced the wall where my television is. And in one of the pictures, there was a reflection of what looked like a demonic face. And it wasn't in human form. It was like, of all things, a rubber bobble head. So it was like a caricature of what a demon is. It wasn't like this horrific. It was weird, which kind of makes sense because I collect toys. So I guess that, is why that was there. But it seemed like it wasn't ending. This just went on for a while. And then finally, my middle name, Jude, is for St. Jude. And I remember screaming as loudly as I could within the experience for that saint's protection. I needed the protection, and I was screaming loudly. It wasn't one of those things where you can't get words out or voices out. I had a voice, and it was loud, and I was screaming violently for protection. And then all of a sudden, I finally got released from it. Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting up in bed, freaked out, and I looked down the hallway, and it's a short hallway because I have a small apartment. But I looked down the hallway, and Lopez is sitting on the edge of my sofa, staring at me. Mm-hmm. Like it had actually happened, you know?
Yeah.
So once that happened, I was really free. So lights are on, you know, and I had to settle myself and get my head together. And a few hours later, like once it was daytime, I felt comfortable enough to actually get some sleep. But that's pretty much what the experience was.
Okay, that's insane. And your cat Lopez, your cat Lopez is a shapeshifter, and so she is able to. She's a shapeshifter, so entities and energies can actually step into her body and take form through her.
Right.
And so. And this isn't bad. This is controlled. She's very aware of it. It's a power that she knows she has and carries. This isn't unusual. Here's the thing, is this experience was very real, very much happened. There very much was a dark presence there, because there is the part that we want to focus on is your voice. And you have struggled your whole life with your voice. And so this time, you know, they're saying they brought in these powerful, dark energies, because there's this challenge you won't meet. And you'll say, oh, you know, I've experienced this before, I don't want to go through it again. Then pass the test. Then meet the challenge and pass the test. And that's what they're saying to you, is meet us where we're at. So this experience, unlike others for other people, is very much guided. Okay. And it's important for everybody to know that when we all have these specific guides, we call them these specific guides of protection, but they're not there to stop you from learning. And so even though those guides may protect, they're not going to interfere with your lessons. And that may mean harm. That may mean fear. That may mean a car accident. That may mean all these things. And so it's so important that we all realize we are all protected, but we are not going to be protected from our lessons. And this was very much a guided lesson that was brought to you. And Lopez, this is the fascinating thing about this cat. This cat has zero compassion and zero empathy. This cat is like, I am here to teach. And if you want to think I'm cute, and if you want to think I'm this, and if you want to think I'm that, fine, but I'm not. I am here to teach, and I will allow whatever energies, entities, experiences that need to come through, utilize my body to teach. That's what I'm here for. And this cat is incredible, and unlike Hollie, who's like la da da da,
exactly.
You know, Lopez is just like that. Hollie's ridiculous, and you got to learn your lesson. Right. And Lopez is dominating this home, which is her job. So everything that you like, so is this entity still in there? No. It's like there was this all your guides choreographed this experience so that you could have the opportunity to step up, use your voice, and learn. And then they removed all these beings and were like, okay, you're just a day player. We're done. You're only paid for get out, right?
Right.
And so this isn't about a haunted home. This is about you and your voice. And they're saying not only is it about you and your voice, but it's also about you learning, understanding, researching, appreciating the power that lives in this animal that is in your home. And when you have an animal that is capable of shapeshifting, which most animals are capable, but a lot of them don't understand and haven't brought that into body this time.
Right.
That is a huge responsibility for the pet parent, right?
Right.
For you. And so it's, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to this animal that has the capability to shapeshift, which means managing the energy that shifts and shapes through this cat. And then on top of that, it's managing your own psychic abilities and using your voice. And that means work. It means work, and yes, we do the work, but now we have to do more work. We have to do different work. We have to stand in it. We have to get it. And the lesson for you is to get to a point to where you don't need these experiences. You understand and just take ownership. Right. Okay. And so an example is simply, I can feel and see. So this is me speaking as you. They're saying, I can feel energy and I can see energy. And I have an animal in my home that can actually allow energy to step into me. I have a lot that I have to manage here. And no, that's not exhausting. And no, that's not overwhelming. It just is who I am. It's no different than someone who was born, without the use of their legs. Right. It's just who they are. They have to learn how to live this life. And that's the place you're being asked to get to. And you're needing these massive lessons, these massive experiences to be shown to you in order for you to go, okay, I understand what I'm living with my cat, and I understand my capabilities. Okay, how do you want me to use these? Because right now I'm just being used. They're being used as testing grounds. How am I not using them? And how do you want me to use them day to day? Right. And that's the work that you want to get to. And the other focal point is the voice, using the voice. Right. They keep saying you did understand an aspect of that lesson because you said, how usually in dreams you can't scream or you can't whatever. Right. I found my voice. Right. I used it. Right. So this isn't a typical haunting. This isn't a typical demon. This isn't an alien life. This was a orchestrated event from your guides in order to say, step up. And not just step up spiritually, but step up in life as well. Put the two together. You are not a victim. You are not a victim. You are not a victim to this event we recreated, and you're not a victim to your life experience, and you're not a victim to this cat that is, allowing these beings to come through. And so what that means for you is, no, you don't need more protection. You understand how to communicate with your guides. This is about using your voice. And this is about owning who you are, knowing who you are, and just walking with that. Right. And the next time it happens, you have an experience like this. It's simply saying, I see you. I understand you. No need for it. Right. There's no need. And the more that you're using your voice in your human body, the more that you are taking ownership of the energy that you live with and that your animals live with, you will not have these experiences because you don't need to, because you're walking in this power. And I use the word power strongly and lightly. I use it lightly because because the power doesn't come from here and it doesn't come from ego. It's a knowing. And then I also use it, in a very light way, because it's not a power to be used over anyone else or used to raise your voice or used to prove your point. Right. It is. Right. And that's what they're asking you to walk in, this power that just is. It's just a knowing. It just is, and this immense trust with your guides, especially with St. Jude, that when we say that we orchestrated this for you, there's a gratitude that lives in that.
Right.
And when you look at your cat, man, that's a cat.
Yeah, she is. I named her right.
You honor that that power that lives in her.
Right.
And say, okay, you're a shapeshifter. I can't stop it. But we'll work it out together, and we'll just deal with it as it comes. And that shapeshifting she does to teach you. So if the lessons start to shift and change, and you don't need lessons that are this intense, her shapeshifting isn't going to be intense. It's going to be more healing, more organic, more angelic, and that's going to assist with your sleeping at night. It's going to stop nightmares. It's going to she's just waiting for you. How do you want me to work? You know,
right.
So yeah, I mean, never would I thought I'd say that your guides orchestrated this demonic event. So,
yay!
Good lesson learned for all of us that that they aren't messing around when it comes to our spiritual enlightenment. When it's time to learn, it's time to learn. So I guess we just need to shut up and learn, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
Hey, shut up, Frank.
No.
No.
I'm just summing it all up, you know, just like that. See. Hey, well, Terry, does that answer everything? Does that tie it all up in a nice bow? I'm assuming so. Because
I mean, it definitely answers what happened. It explains a lot about Lopez, because she is quite the animal. But I think, you know, and I've been working with Maryam for years and years and years. It's just figuring out what's next and how I do it, and you know, the work that needs to be done. And yeah.
And that's, you know, that's the beauty of now being this of being empowered in a way, is your daily practice may need to change so that there's a more fluid flow of information and clarity, because obviously, I mean, as you know, that's where that's going to come from. So we text me after if you need to, but you know, I'm a big advocate for changing your daily practice, because like I've always said, you know, I had a practice and I was like, how come I'm coming out of my practice more pissed off than when I went in, you know, or with less clarity, or with or more frustration. And it was like, oh, change it, you know? And so I really am an advocate for changing your practice.
Okay.
Thank you, Terry.
Terry, thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
See ya. Wow. So that was, you know, as usual, I don't expect for these. I always have an expectation that there's always going to be more. Like, it doesn't matter if it's at a certain level of crazy, there's always going to be another level, basically. And in this case, the moment you were just like, okay, so one of your pets is a shapeshifter. I was like, well, see, there you go. I'm done. I'm out. I knew it right there. Not what I expected to hear. And I was like, and check. You know?
I texted you before the show and I was like, I am intrigued. Like, this is either going to be fascinating or just like, wah, wah. Like, I don't know anything, you know? So I'm glad her guides are just like, you again, Maryam? And I'm like, sorry.
Hi, it's me.
They're like, tell her to turn her own ears on. I'm just the messenger.
You know,
say all that.
Just trying to be helpful here, but wow. So just for everyone else's benefit, you know, usually about the middle of the program, that's where we touch on whether it's this which we call a psychic case. There's also animal communication. There's also even psych at 911. If there's something that's just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. My house is psychically on fire. You know, all the above. Basically, we address that at this time. So if you have a situation that you've watched through this and you're like, hey, wow, yeah, that reminds me. I've got something.
That reminds me, I got a demon in the corner of my living room.
which actually no, that's just one of my creepy dolls.
Right.
See, I had to get that in there for new folks. Basically, M does not like the creepy dolls, so it's something. It's everyone has their boundaries, so that's one of yours. So I'll drop the email so that you can share some information. But now it's that time of the program. We're speaking of sharing an email. Usually there's a case where if we've run out of time and people have had a chance to send things in, we would knock them off at the top of the program. But you had indicated that we had an open queue, right? You didn't have anything there. So I need to see if I can scroll through here and find. See, it's always nice when somebody has something that gives me time to set up. So we've had an active chat, but I don't recall seeing some specific questions. Although Tessa loves the Daisy cards, so that was outstanding there. I know I have so this was interesting. Hollie had this question.
Ooh, Hollie, I love Hollie's picture. It's so cute.
Right, and Hollie participates in our chats quite often. So I want to give her a shout out to say thank you for all your assistance to like cases and stuff that we do. She's one of our very active fans. But I saw this question, I was like, now that's kind of deep.
Yeah.
And I'm not the medium, and I'm calling that deep. So I mean,
you're incredibly intuitive, though. You know your stuff.
Oh well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. So I have. Hold on. I just was these cards. Oh, you know what, Hollie? You should get this deck. They're telling me. Here. Oh. It's ironically called The Secret Language of Light, but you can't see it because of the light. But or email me, but they're telling me you need to get that deck. So how do I remove a karmic soul connection? With everybody, it's different, okay? When it comes to spirit, the universe, our spiritual karmic connections, everyone's different. Every connection is different, right? And so ultimately, at the end of the day, a karmic soul connection has to be completed, right? And that completion, typically, like the typical completion would be neutrality, where let's say you work through issues with your parents and you finally get to a point in your life where you are neutral. You no longer get upset, angry, all these things. The karma is cleared because you're neutral. You are just simply accepting, right? This karmic soul connection, if there's more twists and turns to it, then email me. Maybe it's something we could do on the show. It could be fun and interesting. But really, neutrality is the way to a karmic clearing, where we no longer are emotionally triggered by it because the karma has cleared. And that's where in relationship, they're so nuanced and there's so many, webs that we weave. It can take many years and sometimes many lifetimes to clear that. So yeah, if you want to email me, if it's really like kind of odd or twisted turns, and then we can work it out deeper. But neutrality, getting to a neutral place, is how you ultimately will end it.
That actually leads me to have a curiosity, because I saw that, and my twisted brain is wired. I think of an attachment. So how is this different than an attachment?
Great question. I love
it. Is it?
Before I answer that question, Hollie, third eye. Your third eye is just. Keep it going, keep expanding it, but please be cautious. not cautious, expand it, but understand how to manage your auric field so that you aren't raw from the emotions and experiences you see and feel. Okay. And know that no matter what experiences you draw to you are light filled. So even if these experiences feel dark or negative, you don't draw darkness to you. These are just lessons. Now, to answer your question, Rick, an attachment is an entity that is stuck, confused, angry, all these things that don't want to pass over. A karmic soul connection is mom, dad, brother, sister, lover, best friend, co-worker, boss. These are teachable moments of entities or souls that are teachers, right? And even though attachments are teaching us, an attachment is looking to feed off of somebody. A karmic connection is our soul cluster who we travel through lifetimes with, and that we are asked to complete that connection, or we simply travel together through lifetimes and enjoy each other's company. Attachments are not our outside sources that are outside of our soul connection most of the time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Yeah, that goes along with what I was thinking, and
let me say this really quick before I forget.
Mhm.
You bring up a powerful point. That's the difference between paranormal and spirituality. Paranormal is these entities that are, like we use the word stuck or need a crossover, whatever those typical words are. Spirituality is the blending of these and seeing these experiences as part of who we are, and not separate ghosts passing in the dark or separate attachments that grab onto us. When we have a spirituality, when we have this awareness that all is one and we are one and we are connected to everyone and everything, and we understand who we are when we're not in a physical body, paranormal, that word almost wouldn't exist.
Well,
Paranormal disconnects humans from a spirit. Paranormal world says, I'm a human, you're a spirit. Spirituality says, I'm a spirit, you're a spirit. I'm just in a human body. You aren't in a human body.
See, and there I was just going to say that, paranormal is just beyond normal.
And
so,
yeah.
which is true. That's the definition of the word. But a lot of folks basically they have a well, everybody's different with their reaction to that particular word. So for some, it's rather negative, or they're not quite sure. There's a lot of levels.
Spirit that hasn't taken on a physical body. That's it. And there are just as many tormented, messed up spirits that are in physical bodies that are out. It's like, that's why when I always joke about, my neighbor's more screwed up than the demon that we read last week. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all the same.
Right. Now, what may not be the same, and this really isn't technically a question, but I told Techno I was going to put it up here because apparently it's regarding your jewelry.
This one?
But must have been. Although I don't remember your hand being seen, but I was like, it's not what it's not your necklace, or is it actually? Let me take down the question, so that way So
I love the name Techno Shaman. That was really cool. My
right?
sister gave me this ring, and that would be a real turquoise versus this, whatever's here is not real.
There we go. So I don't think Techno was really wanting me to ask that, but I was like, well, no. So you put it there. I'm going to have to put it up there. So actually, let me see here. Now, I may have missed somebody, so I'll come back to it. But actually, Crystal had a question here. Now, what's interesting is I'm not seeing her profile pic, although it's weird. It's not on screen, but yet it is in the chat. So that's unusual. That may not help you if it's showing the same for you as well.
I think a new energy has been around, but I can't connect with it. Can you help me identify it? I hesitate because if you're being gifted the opportunity to have a new spirit around you, I don't want to take away that lesson by telling you what it is and what to do with it. I want you to experience it. If you are struggling with connecting with it, that's because either A, the time isn't right, or B, you need to change up your practice so that you can be open to hearing it and feeling it. I'm not saying I won't help, so you're welcome to email me, but I wouldn't be doing you a service if I did the work for you. I will validate you. Do you have an energy around you? Absolutely. If you feel it, absolutely. Timing is going to be important on when you connect, and it's going to teach you something new, especially if you're kind of struggling with connecting with it. It's asking you to try something different, learn something new, change up your practice, deepen maybe it's your third eye, or open up your belly where you feel and see, or feel, sorry, I mean, someone could see with their belly, that would be odd, but anyway, makes sense, Crystal. But I mean, if you're adamant about wanting me to help, I will help.
So in this particular case, we have there's seeing eyes, third eyes, but then there also is the fourth eye, which is the belly button. In case you didn't know, breaking news right here on the show.
You're seeing eye belly button.
Wait a minute, I got it. That's another hashtag. Let me put this in here. I've got a ton of those. Actually, that's it. Apparently, everybody's good because there's no other questions.
No one needs any help. Great.
Unless. Wait a minute. So of course, you see, I say that, knowing that we just have a few minutes, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. No, let me get.
I got dinner waiting for me. Oh, there's more. Just kidding.
So.
What's with the pictures, Rick?
I don't know what that is. I haven't seen that before.
Kira, I need her picture. I wonder. I need your picture, Kira, and for some reason it's not showing up. It's probably StreamYard's issue.
Well, I'm on a different laptop. I'm using Chrome, so there's some different variables involved. But I can just say I haven't seen that before. So, Kira, it's scrolling along at the bottom. I dropped it in the chat. That would be super helpful.
So email me, Kira. But listen, listen. When someone passes, we're not always going to feel them. And the reason for that is you need to be able to live without the constant presence of them, right? And so as spirit, they know when to be there and when to not be there. Okay? They know when to not, hinder your growth, your development. Will you feel him again? Of course. Are you not feeling right now? Maybe not, but that's okay. My mom just texted me that that spirit hangs out with your son. She remembered. Thank you, Mom.
Oh, yes, that's true. Mm-hmm.
So just know that just because you don't feel him doesn't mean he's not there. But it doesn't mean that sorry, Rick, I'm sorry, went more really quick. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that for everybody that has loved ones that pass, you're not going to feel them all the time, because you have to be able to move on and know that when needed, you can connect or you will feel. But sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to get in one last question, although Techno was basically enlightening us and reminding that the neighbor chakra, that is the belly button. So that's true. Thank you. But Mary this will be the last question for tonight.
Oh, well, the Mary, you got to be a guest. That's a good one. That's a great question. Why don't you email me and get you on the show? You don't have to do video if you don't want. Mm-hmm. But that's a good question. I don't know. Let's find out who's in that room. I always tell clients, with a question like that, I need to remote view into your space. So clean up your room. Mm-hmm. gonna come in.
Put out some milk and cookies. Wait a minute, did I just make you Santa? Wow.
But you did. And I'm vegan, so like oat milk would be great.
Yeah, see.
But yeah, Mary, email me and that's fascinating. Let's find out.
Right? See, so that's kind of like the other night when there was a commercial for like for some almond milk. And so Georgia is my teenage daughter, and I said, you know, hey Georgia, you know how they get milk out of almonds?
Oh no.
She's like, hi, and I was like, very carefully.
Did she laugh at your jokes, or is she over them too?
Generally, well, it's teenager rolling of eyes. So, I mean, you know, sometimes I may get a chuckle, and I'm just like, yes. But most of the time, it's just like, really, come on, just stop. Just don't even try. So.
Oh, you're an old dad now.
It's you know, I was that for a while basically. So it's just like I hold that mantra quite well. So folks, we're actually a little bit over, but my goodness, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Be sure again to join us on Sunday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Going to have an amazing show then. Everyone, peace, love, enjoy. We will see you. Good night.